Hello there, welcome to the Saroy channel. I'm so very glad you've joined me this evening. I love all you listeners, so let's get started. I've got the most wonderful story for you which you're absolutely going to love. It comes from Ella from Oregon, who tells us about her husband's terrifying Bigfoot encounter. So let's get started. I think you're really going to enjoy the story. Dear Sarah, I'm writing to tell you about my husband's terrifying experience when he encountered a pair of Bigfoots. It happened in the fall of 2011 in the woods a few miles from our home in Oregon. When my husband was a young boy, he would go squirrel hunting with his father, and he enjoyed it so much that when he was older, he graduated to deer hunting. He even made his own deer stand out of the strongest steel materials and found the perfect position in the woods to erect it, where he believed he would get the best opportunity to shoot a deer. My husband was using a very powerful rifle for shooting, and every spare moment he had, he would go shooting in the woods. I had never seen anyone more passionate about the sport than he was. He told me that shooting helped him feel a sense of escapism from the stresses of life. It was on a Saturday morning that he decided to go shooting into the woods. He told me that when he arrived, the woods felt very menacing and creepy. There were no birds tweeting in the woods, and no sign of any animal life of any kind. He said that he noticed a flattened area of grass just covered with hundreds of turkey feathers, as well as loads of carcasses of deer and coyote. He was alarmed to see so many animal bones strewn all over the place. It really gave him an uneasy feeling. He also noticed some thick black hair coiled on a snap branch, and he studied it closely, but could not identify what animal it came from. He sat on his deer stand, but there were no signs of any animal life. It was then that he heard the rustle of a huge oak tree and saw a humongous figure climbing down the tree with the agility of a orangutan monkey, which was odd because this thing sliding down the tree looked like a 700-pound bear, only it wasn't a bear. The creature did not have paws like a bear, but very large humanoid-looking hands. He was holding a bird nest in his hands and cracking open the eggs it contained with his mouth. He was sliding the yolks down his throat and then spitting the shells onto the ground. As he stood up, he was 7 foot tall, with a huge chest, massive arms that were very long, extending beyond his knees, and his feet were humongous. My husband noticed that his hair was thick and black and very matted with mud. He said it looked like he had dreadlocks. Apparently the face was longish and cone-shaped, but it also had a human look about it. It appears as if he had little or no neck, and huge shoulders tapering down to a slim flashboard belly and strong muscular legs. When he moved, he had an ape-like stance with a bounce to his legs. As he turned around, my husband saw the brown eyes and even the whites in the eyes, but he said the creature looked so menacing and so evil. His eyes were filled with intense hatred and fury. He started to growl furiously at my husband, exposing his hideous-looking teeth. My husband was so terrified and told me that he just froze, and it was so hard to move because his legs felt like lead. The creature let out the most terrible roar, equal to that of a lion, but with a more menacing undertone. He declared that he would rather have faced a lion head-on than this creature. He said the fear was beyond words, because no word in the dictionary could express the magnitude of his intense anxiety. He said that he was too scared to use his gun in case the creature got madder, and he felt sure that his high-powered rifle was no match for this creature. Suddenly there was a huge whistle in the distance, and then the creature responded with the same kind of sound. He realized now he would be facing 2 Bigfoots, and he knew suddenly that he was in graver danger and his life was in deep peril. The whistle sound those creatures made sounded like birdsong. My husband said he had heard that sound so many times before in the woods. My husband fired a couple of shots in the air and ran backwards towards his car because he needed to keep watching the creatures in case they ambushed him. He could hear now that 2 creatures were chasing him through the wooded thicket, running through the barricades of thorns and brambles as if they were nothing, while by contrast my husband was running down the clear open dirt road towards his car. He said that he dived onto the driver's seat and with trembling hands he turned the engine on and sped away as fast as he could, looking back in terror through his window at two Bigfoots who were shaking their arms defiantly in the air in a gesture of huge amount of anger and fury. When he came home, I'd never seen my husband look so white, and he sat there and just said nothing for a long while. When I put my arms around him, I could feel he was trembling. I'd never seen him so shaken up before, and even today he is still experiencing post-traumatic stress from the incident. We did go back to his deer stand a couple of days later, and all those tough metal posts were completely ripped out, and his deer stand was completely destroyed. Now, you'd have had to have superhuman strength to move them. We both felt that it was a clear message from the Bigfoots to stay away. Looking back, I do think that if the Bigfoots wanted to kill him, they would have, and I wondered if they were charging him to scare him away from their territory. My husband does not agree and believes it was their intention to kill him. My husband is not as carefree as he used to be, and he has never hunted since the event, which is very, very sad. Hope you found his story of interest, Ella. Thank you, Ella, so much for your lovely Bigfoot encounter. Not that it was a happy one by any means, but thank you. And good night to all of you. Until next time, goodbye.